everyone! Yay! It's the fourth day. Soon we are at Christmas, and today I decided we should do something a little bit more fun. So I decided we're going to read How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. I think that's can be a kind of fun reading. Let me see. I do need my book for my reading though. Let's see. Bum 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 bum. Oh my god. Yes, I think that's perfect. Okay. Let me read. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. It could be that his head wasn't screwed on just right. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart on his shoes. He stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a holly Who wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. He then growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to keep Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, I know all the Who girls and boys will wake bright and early, they will rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, noise. There's one thing I hate, all the noise. And they will shriek, squeak and squeal, racing round with their wheels. They will dance with jingle-tlings tied onto their heels. They will blow their flu-fluvers. They will bang their tartokas. They will blow their hoo-hoopers. They will bang their gardokas. They will spin their tromtokas, and they will slam their sloslonkas. They will beat their blumbloopas, and they will wham their hoo-wonkas. And they will play noisy games like Zuzuzikazi, a roller skate type of lacrosse and croquet, and they will make ear-splitting noises, galooks, on their great big electro Who carneo flukes. Then the Who's, young and old, will sit down to a feast, and they will feast, and they will feast, and they will feast. They will feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast. The raw roast beef is a feast I can't stand in the least. And then they will do something I hate most of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, they will stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They will stand hand in hand, and those Who's will start singing. And they will sing, and they will sing, and they will sing. And the more the Grinch thought of the Who's Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now, I must stop Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. I will make a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked, and what a great Grinchy trick. With the coat and this hat, I will look like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, The Grinch looked around. Since reindeers are scarce, there were none of to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? Ha! The Grinch simply said, "If I can't find a reindeer, I will make one instead." So he took his dog Max, and he took some black thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he whistled for Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, no one knew that he was there. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house of the square, "This is a stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, as he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He snuck only once for a minute or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings hung all in a row. "These stockings, little Grinch," he grinched, "are the first thing to go." Then he slitched and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present: pop guns, papongas, patonkas, and drums, checkerboard, siblings, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch were nibbling, stuffed all the bags on one by one up to the chimney. Then he slunk into the icebox. He took the Who's feast, he took the Who's pudding, and he took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took the last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "Now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." As the Grinch took the tree, as he started to shove, he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was no more than 2. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, the old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my little sweet little toot," said the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on the tree that won't light on the side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I will fix it up, then bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou, who was in her bed with her cup, he crept up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then he went to the chimney himself, the old liar, and the last thing he took was the log of the fire. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing in the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was a quarter of dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, and he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, their ribbons, their wrappings, their snoof and their fossils, their tringles and trappings. 10,000 feet up of the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode his load to the tip-top to dump it. "Pooh, pooh, to the Who's," he said, grinchly humming. They are finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They were just waking up. I know just what they will do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the who's down and who will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise. That that's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. He paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in a low, and it started to grow. But this sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded glad. Every who down and who will, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes and bags. He puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Who Will they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And then the true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Grinch found the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2. And now that his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whisked with his load through the bright morning light. With a smile to his soul, he descended Mount Crumpet, cheerily blowing hoo, hoo on his trumpet. He rode into Whoville, and he brought back their toys. He brought back their fluff to the Who girls and boys. He brought back their snuff and their tringlers and fuzzles, brought back their panchukas and their daffles and wuzzles. He brought everything back, all the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Welcome Christmas, bring your cheer to all who's far and near. Christmas Day is in our grasp, so long as we have hands to grasp. Christmas Day will always be just as long as we are we. Welcome Christmas while we stand, heart to heart and hand in hand. The end. I really like this one. I read it from time to time, even when it's not Christmas. And I hope you guys can feel some Christmas spirit and some coziness, and that you will enjoy it. And maybe you can have a good Christmas, even if your Christmas gets stolen and you don't get as many presents as you're used to. Because Christmas is not about presents in the end. Christmas is more about being with family and loved ones, and being surrounded by people that you have near and dear, and that means something to you. So I hope everyone has someone near to you this year that you can spend Christmas with. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you still have a wonderful weekend, and you have someone close to you. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.